Welcome to the New Rugged Order podcast, exclusively on the Hard Knock Digital Culture channel. Now give it up to your host people, MM2K.
There should be music playing. I don't know what the heck is going on. Where's the music at? What's going on here? All right, let's. Yeah, no, you took too long. You messed up my intro. Why is this so low? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy MM2K of PNTS Network and Hard Knock Digital Culture, and we're back again with another NRO podcast, or NRO live, or NRO podcast, depending upon how and when you're listening to this. I got to keep remembering that some people might be watching this on VOD via YouTube, which is the NRO podcast version. What's up, everybody? Good to see y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank y'all for being patient as well. Do y'all hear my fan blowing in the background? If y'all don't, I'm gonna keep it on because it's hot. Even though I got central air for some reason in my office, it's not that powerful. So I gotta put the fan up to this. I gotta ghetto rig it. I gotta put the fan up to the central air vent and have it blow out so it's a little bit stronger. So if y'all don't hear that, I'm gonna leave it on. But if y'all hear that, then we gotta turn it off. What's up, everybody? It's your boy MM2K. Yes, NRO Live. This is episode 28, I think. Yeah, we're getting up there, man. Since the reboot earlier in the year, we getting up there, man. Yo. What's up, everybody? Good to see y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. You said you're 24 hours late, bro. Of course. You know, there had to be stuff. I'm thank y'all again for y'all patience. My wife is finally home from the hospital. Let's hope that she doesn't have to go back and stay, because that's one thing I did not like, is having to go back and forth to the hospital, and particularly pay the parking. It's ridiculous. And rather be doing stuff like this. And then plus my nights is already filled up. Told you I got some new business. Started a new business. Everything's already groovy there, but takes up my nights, you know what I'm saying? So I'm already stretched thin. The less traveling that I have to do, the better. But y'all didn't come here for that. Y'all came here to get some of my gaming takes on the latest and greatest gaming news, and I appreciate y'all coming through. Shout out to y'all in the chat. I see y'all. I see you, Cold Blood. I see you there, brother, and I thank you for your subscription. 14 months strong. Yeah, let's go, baby. Let's go. Appreciate it. All right, and there's more coming. What have I been playing? I've been playing some Remnant and been playing some Remnant. I'm going to get back into Dead Island 2 as well. I'm going to finish that off because Remnant's going to take my time. When you've been gaming as long as I've been gaming for over 35 years, you don't game the same way. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, this is cap, man. Yeah, I get bored easily, so I can't do what y'all do. Y'all, go through this level, go through that level. All right, I'm done. I like to play. When y'all talk about games as a service, I'm not too fond of the service part, but I love open world games, because what open world games do is they allow me to create my own game or my own campaign within the game. So I ain't got to follow your strict guidelines. I can have fun my way. And I find that beating a game, like going through those A through Z pointers, don't really do it for me, because what happens is endorphins or whatever they call them, that hype that I have for the game, once I beat it, it's complete, and I don't want to go back to it, to where if I don't beat it, but I'm going around just causing mayhem and havoc. I pretty much treat I treat every open world game like GTA. Let's put it like that. That's what I do. And if you give me an incentive for beating a game, like I unlock this in this portion of the game, then I'll beat it. But if by me beating the game, I'm not getting anything extra, I just complete the story, I don't worry about beating it. I just run around in the world causing mayhem, havoc. If I'm like, oh man, I got to get this special type of weapon. Oh, well, you got to do this level of the campaign in order to get that. Then I'll go do the story then. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I've been playing games, and I've been doing that since Fallout 3. Fallout 3 really, that was one of the most expansive games that I've ever played. And because it was so expansive, I literally created my own thing of Fallout 3. Shout out to the homie Neethles. I remember I was talking to Neethles And he was like, yo, me and him had a big argument about Fallout 3. He was like, Fallout 3, because that's my favorite Fallout, is 3. He's like, Fallout 3 ain't nothing but sewers. And I'm like, no, it ain't. I mean, I beat Fallout 3, but most of my time wasn't in the sewers. Most of my time was journeying through the world, through every single crevice. And he was like, no, it was mainly sewers. And I'm like, no, it's not. You know, and what it was is he played the game straight through. He didn't really do any side. And I'm like, bro, that's such a waste of the game. It's like those people that get the wingdings. They take 2 little small smidgen bites and there's like still 85% of the meat left. You'd have got your ass whooped in my house doing something like that. You know what I'm saying? We grow up, you better eat all that meat off that damn bone. But yeah, I was like, bro, that's a waste of the game. You just played through the sewers and beat it. I said, man, I went and got the Lincoln, that special shotgun that was in the game. I traveled all over that game. So I barely remember the sewers. They were, you know, again, just roadblocks for me to progress so I can get this new item or this new weapon or, you know, all that other stuff, right? And so ever since Fallout 3, that's how I you know, those are the most memorable and fun moments of playing a game that I have, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what I do with everything now. You know what I mean? And again, like I said, unless you have like a specific end game that allows me to do more, that forces me to beat the game, like a Division does, I don't necessarily have to beat your game in order to have fun. Now, if it's like a single player game, like, you know, I mean, or a straight story-based game, kind of like a Horizon. Horizon's kind of open world too, but I'll say God of War. If it's a game like God of War or something like that, yeah, okay, it makes sense. You know, to just go all the way through, just play the game. Yeah, you know, maybe fool around a little bit on your way there, but those are games that you're supposed to finish. You know what I'm saying? But open world games, you know, you can kind of make your own game within the game, and that's kind of like what I like to do. That being said, so that's why I was taking my good old time with Dead Island. I know a lot of people that watch me play that game, they get bored of me playing the game, and they're like, oh, this looks so slow. That's because I go through every nook, every cranny. I don't like leaving anything. I'm one of those gamers that when I used to play RPGs, I had a mission, or what do you call it, those Prima guides, because I didn't want to miss anything. I didn't need the guide to tell me how to beat the enemy. I would just need the guide for the special sword of Orion. You know, I didn't want to miss anything. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what it is. It's how I play games. Y'all can clown it, clip it, make a video of it. He don't play any games. He ain't got any trophies. I play games. Me beating a game or getting a trophy, that's not what I do. But I'm skilled as hell in the games that I play. Shout out is, you know, the aforementioned Neathles in Next Gen. I remember when Division 2 first came out and they was playing it because everybody, you know, it was the talk of the town when it launched. And they was getting their ass kicked. So they hit up yo, MM, you play this game, man. Game's hard, man. Come and help us. Meanwhile, mind you, these mugs were at level 9. They had started the game before me because I was working or something like that. And no. They were playing on console and I was mainly playing on PC. I had bought Division 2 everywhere that I could play it. And so I was mainly playing on PC, but they were playing on Xbox. So I went and started my Xbox character, which was only at level 2 at the time. And I led them through through all the missions while they were at level 9. So I'm good at the games that I play. I just, you know, I play what I play and I play a certain way, you know. But if that wasn't a nice precursor to warm up the chat and everything like that. Also, don't forget, man, this is a platform that is only as good as the support that it gets. Yeah, I try my best to facilitate that support and herd it the best way I can. But we need y'all support to make this platform even better for you. So if you could do us a huge favor, we appreciate it. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. If you could kindly opine and help support this platform, we really appreciate it. I was just talking to the homie Lo-Fi. Shout out to the homie Lo-Fi Monk. Shout out to my homie Squids. Shout out to the homie N7. We got something cooking. We got something in the kitchen. You know what I mean? And I was talking to Lo-Fi because he's really excited. He's happy that I'm not playing hospital tag anymore. Here, let me see. Support this platform. He's like, yo, oh, hold on. Uh-oh. I don't think I'm playing the right music, and I hope we don't get no, hold on. Oh, man. I'm going to feel sorry for the VODers because I forgot I was listening to this in the hospital and I forgot to switch it back. Hold on. Oh, man. Let me see something here, y'all. Hold on. Oh, man. I forgot to switch it back. Stream mix. I got to put it. Hold on. Where is... Give me a second. There's always something, man. Your library. Where's... Okay, there we go. That's where we want to go. Oh, man. I hope they didn't. We'll see. We'll see if they muted some of this audio. That's why they would have muted the audio. So when I download this, I got to take this out. All right. So in case they muted the audio and I got to resurrect, you know what I'm saying, what was muted, and you're watching this VOD, thank you for joining us. This is MM2K again. NRO podcast number 28. Yep. Today we're going to be talking about Ratchet Clank SSD-Gate 9th generation already over, and my Remnant 2 impressions. We're going to be giving you all that. So stay tuned for that. Also, I just put in the chat, support to know I didn't put it in the chat yet, but I'm going to put it in there right now. We can only make this platform as great as the help that we get. So support this platform. You know what I'm saying? Hit us up. You can go to paypal.me/mm2k. You can go to HNDC.live/tip, or you can go to Cashapp and go to $MM2K Gaming. Anything that you can provide. We still want to get Final Fantasy 16. And I've blown past my budget, my gaming budget for 2023, my wife said. So she said, if I'm going to play anything, y'all going to have to be generous to help a brother out. And I want to get into Final Fantasy 16. I love to do the trifecta of Final Fantasy 16, Remnant 2, and Dead Island 2. Damn, that's a hell of a trifecta. That being said, I can't do it without you. And, or another way you could support us, just like how Cold Blood Sensei just supported us, you can subscribe here, become a subscriber. When I say here, I mean Twitch. If you're watching this via Twitch, you can become a subscriber via Twitch. All right. That helps out a lot. And you don't necessarily have to pay in order to subscribe to us on Twitch. If you have Amazon Prime and you linked your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account, you get an honorary free sub every month that you can give to any performer like moi. So if you got a crown next to your, next to your avatar or your tag, that means that you have a Prime subscription to gift. Go ahead and hook a brother up, man. We want to play fine. We do. And Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man's going to be a tough call. Because I got two choices. I can either take my allotment from my wife. Yes. That's how it goes down in my house because I'm horrible with money. So we could take my allotment that I got from my wife for Starfield, and I can apply that for Spider-Man and then maybe do Game Pass for Starfield, which I really don't want to do because if I end up liking Starfield, I'm buying it outright and I'm buying it on Steam. I'm not even playing with Windows, I'm not doing what y'all doing. I'm buying it on Steam. You know what I'm saying? We can either do that or, but I don't want to. I want to save that for Starfield. And I only want to do that for Starfield if people start booting up Starfield and they're like, oh man, you can't even get 60 frames per second unless you got a 4090. Or unless you're doing 1080. The only way you're going to get 60 frames per second is if you're doing 1080 or if you got a 4090. If I hear that type of talk, because they ain't got that DLSS 3, then I'm not even playing around with it because I got a 3070. I'm not even going to play around with Starfield. We'll just go ahead and buy Spider-Man for PlayStation 5. But if Starfield ends up being copacetic, I don't know, Spider-Man. Y'all gotta help me out. Y'all gotta help a brother out. That's how you can do it. All right. Before I go any further, I would be amiss if I didn't do this. Now let's put this up here. We got a lot of tabs up here today because we got a lot of stuff to go. Oh, come on, man. There you go. Let me show you something. This is PNTS Network. This is our home site for all of our gaming content under our PNTS Network family of content. We got articles. You can see we got game streams and podcasts and stuff up here. This is all our YouTube content from all of our providers get put up here. Here goes the specific podcasts in general. So you'll see episode 27. Once this becomes a VOD, you'll see episode 28 up here as well. All of our podcasts and stuff is up here. All of our member content is here. Me, Jack, Squids, Lo-Fi, Pete, Daryl, Snow Bunny, you know what I'm saying? So what you want to do is if you're interested in my content, you can go to members, go to MM2K Gaming. Guess what? It takes you right to my page here. And if you look at my page, look, oh my God. There it goes. There we go. Right there. That's us. That's us right now, man. Yeah, right there. The Twitch stream is there. You can watch this on Twitch there. Got all my links down here as well. And then stuff from my YouTube channel. All right. So you can definitely check that out. Okay. Cold Blood Sensei says you can Game Pass that sucker. Cold Blood, I don't want to support Game Pass. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me fix my chair. I really don't want to support Game Pass. Give me a second so I can explain. Look, so we talked about this last week. Subscription models are failing. Everything Microsoft has tried to do to boost their footprint in gaming is failing. Therefore, I don't want to continue to support the entities that allow their failing proposals to flip the market upside down. What do I mean by that? Basically, Microsoft is using their money to say all this stuff that would fail under the normal market, we want it to succeed. The reason why we want it to succeed, we want a subscription model to be the main way to play games. We want it to be more about quantity over quality, is because that's what we're best at. So if we can flip the industry to serve us, then that's what we'll do. And I feel like the way Game Pass is structured right now, it does that. People say, no, it's just an option. It's just an option. No. Game Pass is an albatross to Microsoft getting better at putting out games. Why is that an albatross? I just talked about this earlier. I was rapping a lo-fi. With Game Pass, you never have two things happening that are pillar events in 2023 gaming for Xbox. Number one, you don't have Redfall released the way that it released. And I get there's some people that may say, you know what, well, I like Redfall. I think Redfall is a cool game. I know a lot of people in the cloud space may feel that way. And I'm not going to deny them that emotion of enjoying Redfall. If you enjoy it, fine. You like what you like. Still, it's unacceptable. Both can occupy the same space and same time. Why do I say that? Because Redfall was advertised as a AAA genre-defining game, and it was sold for $70. And everybody doesn't engage with games via Game Pass. As a matter of fact, Game Pass, even though it's the most way that it appears that Xbox gamers of this generation are approaching games, it is the least way games are being approached, because there's like 25 million Game Pass subscribers, and that's not even 10% of the console market. So when you factor in PC and console, it's like what, 1%, less than 1%. So 1% of gamers have Game Pass. That Game Pass is targeted for. Again, less than 1% of the target demo have Game Pass. So it's not acceptable. So I'm thinking about the mass, and the masses, the way that they're going to interact with games is they're going to do it a la carte. They're not going to do it through Game Pass. So because of that, it was unacceptable the state that it released in. The reason why it released in that state is because of Game Pass. If Game Pass doesn't exist, Redfall doesn't release the way that it was, because no one says, oh, you know what, it's just going into Game Pass. Secondly, I also believe with Starfield, even though I'm not saying Starfield is going to be a bad game, we don't know. But I feel like the major hiccup with Starfield at the moment is 30 frames per second on the consoles. I feel like you don't have that if Game Pass isn't around. If you don't have Game Pass to where you can just crutch off of and say, well, it's just going into Game Pass anyway, and you know, all we care about for the most part is how Game Pass is growing for PC gamers, just throw it in there because they'll get 60 frames per second. If you don't have that dynamic, Starfield isn't straddled to 30 frames per second on consoles. What I'm basically saying is that Game Pass is an albatross to Microsoft gaming. Now, for my cloud gamers, I think it's a great tool for them, for people that are cloud gamers. Beyond that, that's it. I mean, I have my gripes with it from the cloud gaming standpoint, but I get that for cloud gamers, because their scope is smaller or different when it comes to, and it's more about access for them, and Game Pass is perfect for them in a lot of ways in regards to access, then I can understand them. You know what I'm saying? Supporting Game Pass, and I think it's a great tool for them. But when it comes to mainstream gaming, I refuse to support it. So if I'm testing something out on the cloud, yeah. If I've already got a subscription for a month, or if it was gifted to me and I want to test out a game, okay, fine. But besides that, I'm trying my best not to support Game Pass on a mainstream level. You know what I mean? Because I just don't like the dynamic in which it's being used. So with that said, I hope that answers your question, Cold Blood. He said, Redfall is the definitive Xbox showcase game. Yeah, I so many problems with that, and I feel so bad for Arcane because they were really done in on that one. They were shysted there, but you know. All right, there is something I want to talk about that just snuck in that really piggybacks off of this. This isn't part of our normal show, but I'm going to get into it. So let's talk about it. Final Fantasy 14 is finally headed to Xbox. And they talk about how Phil Spencer, where was this at? It says a reporter, it says during the Final Fantasy Fan Fest keynote, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer appeared to announce alongside game director Naoki Yoshida, we want to bring Xbox community and your warriors of light together, and that way it's safe, secure, engaging, and above all fun, Spencer said. And so that's still making the announcement that Final Fantasy 14 will be coming to Xbox in 2024. It's going to be coming to Series S and Series X and feature faster loading times and 4K resolution for the Series X. Fortunately, Xbox fans won't have to wait for the game's latest expansion to play. According to Yoshida, the Xbox version will launch in spring 2024 with an open beta to take place sometime around the launch of patch 6.5. Progress from the open beta will carry over, so Yoshida encouraged Xbox players to sign up for the beta. All right, so in lieu of that, there have been a lot of discussions going on, and of course, as you can imagine, some from the Xbox zealotry are going overboard. Xbox is buying Square next. Like, I see some people trolling saying that. but there are people that are they're dead ass serious saying this. And they're like, yeah, you know, it's different now because Microsoft was able to influence the ousting of the old CEO. Okay. So here's what I want to do. Not to curb your enthusiasm or omit your craziness. But here, let's do this real quick. So that's all a lie. It had nothing to do with the changing of the CEO. I want to show you guys something. And I love sources like this because and I be in DMs with people and they get so mad when I pull out this source, but there's got to be some reason behind all of the misinformation that's being cascaded to people. So I want to show you guys something. So this is from Tweaktown. This is Derek Strickland. He is like, when I want to get a reasonable down the middle explanation of something that's happening, not the opinion, but the actual factuals of what's happening, I go to Derek. From an Xbox source, I go to Derek Strickland first. Why? Because you could tell in Derek's commentary, his opinions, he leans very heavily towards Xbox. But what Derek is not going to do is he's not going to allow that mess with his credentials, I can't think of the word right now, but he's not going to allow his excitement over the Xbox product or even the brand to mess with his credibility. That's the word I'm looking for. So whenever I want to get a more down the middle perspective from the Xbox side to shut Xbox clowns up or the zealot wing of that community up, I don't want to make it appear that I'm saying that all Xbox gamers are clowns. No, there's just a sector of the community that are clownish, because the trolls are one thing, but the people that are actually trying to sell this stuff as gospel, they need addressed, because they're deceiving fellow gamers for the sake of a brand that all they're doing is they're not even sending them anything. They're just acknowledging them online, and these people are getting all creamy knuckled. And the problem with that is you have people that apparently have no lives, that nobody likes them outside of Twitter. And, you know, just a tweet back from a gaming exec gets them all gooey eyed and sloppy pants, sloppy pantaloned, that they're willing to lie to you to continue to get that kudos, that a boy from these execs. And you lose out in the long end, because all you're trying to do is find out where are the good games at, where are the best sources. And people are lying to you, you know, to draw your money and draw your attention to something that's not going to service you well, instead of just putting all the facts out on the table. So the clown wing of that community would have you believe that that's why that happened. Xbox is about to buy Square, and that the CEO he got ousted, and then all of a sudden deals happened. Let's read what Derek Strickland had to say. He says, this was years in the making. That's it. This was years in the making. What is he talking about? Well, let's do what other people can't do, maybe because they didn't get hired in a third grade education, and let's read. All right, let's see if we can find the part that I'm talking about in particular. Let's see here. I had it early. Hold on. It's all these damn ads. Jesus Christ. Let me see. There was something I wanted to mention. Oh. Okay, it says, oh, here it goes. I'm sorry about that. Let's highlight that again. In a deal that was 6 years in the making. I repeat, in a deal that was 6 years in the making. Final Fantasy 14 is officially coming to Xbox in 2024. Square Enix's mega popular MMORPG will jump over to Xbox Series X and S consoles in spring of next year, complete with cross-play integration and modern gaming upgrades. All right. So no, this wasn't something that happened because the CEO that I think as of 4 weeks ago is no longer there. This has nothing to do with that. This was years in the making. Thank you, Derek, for bringing caution to irrationality. All right. I want to say when Final Fantasy 14 release date, because I want to make sure that I'm talking about this in the right chronological order. Okay. So Final Fantasy 14 released September 30th, 2010. So here's what happened. It was originally supposed to be it was supposed to be on Xbox. If you are old enough to remember, if you're not one of those Xbox gamers that just came on this generation because you fell for all the hype or all of the stupid content creators that lied to you and told you that this was going to be different, that Xbox was bringing you the goods, and now we're back to almost a damn 2-to-1 ratio between the two consoles. I'll get into that in a little bit. They haven't gained any ground as far as revenue made. As a matter of fact, it's gotten slightly wider, you know what I mean, after buying Bethesda. But we'll get into that. That being said, back in 2010, this was still during the Xbox 360 era. And you remember that Square Enix had started a very fantastic relationship with Xbox. They started working with them, bringing Final Fantasy games over to the platform, which was the first. It was a big deal. Later, they would ink a deal for Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix to bring the Tomb Raiders over. I think those were timed exclusives or something like that. And with that being said, it was great stuff. It was a great relationship for Xbox. Well, Xbox was cocky, and this was before, to be fair to Phil, this was before Phil Spencer got there. I don't know who it was, Jay Allard or maybe Peter Moore. Somebody said, no, we don't want to do crossplay. We don't want your lower end gamer base to benefit from our higher end gamer base. This is the real motivation was. But Xbox said it was because they didn't like the security of the PlayStation 3 or whatever, right? Now, let me look up something else. When did PSN get hacked? Well, really didn't get hacked. They had an 2011. Okay. April 17th. And no. Forcing Sony to deactivate on April 20th. On May 4th, Sony confirmed. Okay. The outage lasted. Okay, so understandably so, Microsoft also used that as an excuse that, their platform wasn't secure, because it wasn't that secure, and they got hacked. And then they had DDoS attacks and a whole bunch of stuff in the outage, and people couldn't play online for 23 days. This is at the height of Call of Duty being big and online games being big, right? So Microsoft was like, hell no. And then what Square Enix did is said, oh, okay, well, if we can't do crossplay because we don't want we want everybody to play together. We don't want to have a PlayStation group, an Xbox group, a PC group. Then we're not going to release the game on your platform. And Microsoft said, who cares? And really, they didn't miss out, because the game, when it first launched, was laughed at. They were like, this game is horrible. And it did not get rave reviews. It wasn't until, I want to say, 5-6 years ago, maybe, that it started getting better. And that's why they say, in a deal that was 6 years in the making, Final Fantasy 14 is officially coming to Xbox in 2024. So this was something. So right when Final Fantasy 14 finally started getting better and people really was like, oh man, this is the stuff, did Xbox finally say, okay, well, let's see what we can do now. Now we want this game on the platform. So it took them some time to iron it out and get it settled, but it's coming in 2024. So that is the history of Final Fantasy 14 not being on Xbox and then coming to Xbox. It wasn't PlayStation holding it and all that other stuff, and it wasn't that the new CEO left, a new CEO came that allowed it to come. That's all bullpucky. Here's the finer point to all this, though. This took so long, and also it exemplifies the failure that Xbox showcased and how they approached games in the Xbox One era. In the Xbox One era, when they had these exclusive deals, and I'm imagining that the exclusive deal for Tomb Raider was probably inked before Phil got there. And it didn't go as well, because the PlayStation 4 was the more popular platform. And I will say that there was a lot of biased media out there that, instead of saying, oh, this game is being exclusive to Xbox, wow, this is going to be awesome, the Tomb Raider reboot, and it looked fantastic, and it is a fantastic series. Instead of that being the focus, the question then became, well, when is it coming to PlayStation? When is it coming? This ain't fair. It's not coming to PlayStation. When is it coming to PlayStation? Which that wasn't right. And this new regime under Xbox, under Phil, did not handle that press well. They didn't stand firm, and they didn't say, well, look, this is our game. We supported it. It is what it is. We're trying to bring stellar content. We're going to continue to partner with gamers, and we're going to bring stellar content. Phil was still in this kumbaya, I want to seem like the nice guy, this is what we're going to sell type thing. And they stumbled all over the place and mixed up the messaging. And so people didn't buy it on Xbox. As a matter of fact, the word had snuck out that it was going to be a timed exclusive. So people just waited until it came to PlayStation. Let me just confirm. Hold on 1 second. When did that hold on. Yeah, they just waited for it to come to PlayStation 4. Is this the right one? Yeah. So, and I think it was a definitive edition that came out. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Yeah. Yep, the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition came out. First, it came out for Xbox, and then it came out for PlayStation 4 later. Or maybe it came out for Xbox. I can't remember exactly how it happened. but I remember it coming out for Xbox. It says 2013 it came out for Xbox, which I didn't realize that it came out that early in the generation. That's weird. I don't remember it being a launch title. But anywho, so after that didn't go well, it seemed like that Xbox started to abandon its exclusive deals. You know what I'm saying? Like they abandoned their time exclusive deals and they just got real skim with the investment. And in the meantime, while Xbox was falling short on making genre-defining AAA exclusive deals and doing things like Recore, for crying out loud, Phantom Dust with the original assets. You know what I'm saying? When they were doing stuff like that. Now they did do PUBG. They did jump in on PUBG and was hoping that PUBG would help them out. And it didn't. It still didn't. I just think that because I think the thing that happened with PUBG was that PUBG was supposed to be 60 frames per second. 60 frames per second was an issue even back then. I think PUBG was supposed to be 60 frames, but because the S couldn't do 60 frames, but the X possibly could, they nixed the 60 frames on the S. I mean, they nixed the 60 frames altogether. And that, you know, that didn't help with console sales. So it was just Xbox's marketing. They weren't investing in marketing, all like that. They really were just trying to be lean and mean. And they were just trying to live off of Minecraft and Fortnite revenue. That's basically what they were doing for years. Then Sea of Thieves came out and some of their other games came out and they started seeing some success. And then I believe it was probably around January of 2019 when something happened with Satya. People think that Satya cares so much about gaming. He doesn't. What's going on? Like, what people don't realize is that Xbox is Microsoft's second lowest revenue stream. Xbox is Microsoft's second lowest revenue stream. Its number 2 revenue stream is the cloud. And I think number 1 is LinkedIn or something like that, right? Something like that. And there's a wide gap between what the cloud brings in, the cloud business brings in and gaming. So you might wonder, why would Satya Nadella spend 60 or $70 billion? Now that I think they said the reevaluation is 75, but why would he spend $75 billion on Activision Blizzard? Because, and this is the same reason why the CMA, FTC, and even the EU sniffed it out. It's just happened that the EU said, we're still going to let this pass with some contingencies. But the reason why all these entities sniffed it out is because of cloud gaming. They said, you are buying IPs and property that would allow fellow cloud gaming platforms, particularly Amazon and Google, have an entrance into the gaming market. These games are vital to cloud gaming because they're the biggest games out there, and they really utilize the full benefits of the cloud. Instead of you having to have 300 gigabytes of storage freed, it's in the cloud. Peer-to-peer latency is growing with each iteration of Call of Duty to where, yes, there may be latency from your control movement to the cloud server, but because everything is happening in the cloud, that's compensating for the peer-to-peer latency that's happening, pinging the actions from the server to your Xbox or to your PlayStation. So there's actually going to be a time to where the latency, the overall latency that you're experiencing is going to be less in the cloud than it will be natively when it comes to games like Call of Duty. So that really benefit. And if you put the power of those IPs, or particularly Call of Duty, in the hands of a competitor in that space, you're going to lead to too much of a potential of anti-competitive practices. And what CMA and FTC rightfully said, they just poorly argued, is they said these 10-year deals mean nothing. You're giving 10-year deals to conduit services that all they're doing is just giving you rigs in the sky. These are not services that are baked upon the actual platform / publisher relationship where they get 30% and all this. It doesn't matter. They're looking at quantitative factors, like how many more games can you add to our service, because they're selling the service. They're not selling the game. But places like Amazon, who may sell you the game in the subscription model that they have, you got to remember, Boosteroid and GFN, they don't have subscription models for games. Their subscription model is for the service. But the platforms that actually are selling you the game or access to the game straight up via a license or something like that, or a right to distribute that license, are Google and Amazon. Neither one of those platforms have deals. What's up with that? Now, Google was gone at the time, but even when the 10-year deals were being talked about, we even reported on it. Google was nowhere mentioned, and Amazon is nowhere mentioned. So CMA and FTC was on the right track. They just gave in to pressure because they don't know how to argue their job. They don't know how to do it fully. Everything on paper is sound and solid. Vocalizing it is where they fell short, and they buckled to pressure. And that's sad and pathetic for regulators that we need to protect us as consumers. I don't care what a bunch of fanboys. I mean, I get the cloud community because to them it's just all about access, and they're looking at things from a much smaller prism and smaller scope. So I understand why they would argue for this. But for mainstream gamers who want to continue to see games get better, if you're one complaining about games are getting so lackluster or so cookie cutter, but you're praising this deal, I want you to paint yourself the color as an interstate road and just lay in the middle of the street and wait for a semi to come. Please do us all a favor, because you sound idiotic. If you're out there arguing the quality of AAA games, like a lot of us are, games are getting so cookie cutter and so this and so that, and big publishers and big conglomerates are ruining games, and you're cheering on this deal, let's go to Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever we got to go. Let's find that brownish black colored paint. I'll paint a couple of white stripes on you and just lay in the middle of the interstate, the local interstate, the closest interstate. Put into it. Because you sound stupid. Or as my friend, my homie, the real Maslin used to say, I need you to go outside and headbutt. I headbutt the fastest semi truck right now. I need you to go do that. Maybe it'll jingle just a couple of cells in your brain. All right. So that's why there was pressure put on Xbox in the first place about this deal, because of what it potentially means for the competitive space in that particular region, and why a lot of us were against it. But with that being said, it's important that these games that are being pursued at the individual level. I gave an example. I was all for the 360 era, which is like of my favorite gaming eras. Hold on one second. I was all for the 360 era when Microsoft was doing exclusive deals. I'm all for PlayStation doing exclusive deals. A la carte. It's just that Xbox gave up on those deals. They didn't like them, and they just said, we're going to flip the game upside down to where it only benefits us. And then now you're going to have the era of mass. I feel like the deal is going to go through, and you're going to have the era of mass consolidation. And even if number one, Microsoft is of the worst managers of AAA content, Redfall. But secondly, even if they were the best, even if they were the greatest, even if PlayStation couldn't tie their shoes or couldn't wear their shoes, mass consolidation is bad for gaming. At the end of the day, gaming is an art. It's a technical art. The art comes before the tech. This is not Android versus iOS where, exclusives don't matter, where the fizzle, chisel, pizzle popper is in every store and it's all about whose tech is the best. It's not, no. AAA gaming or gaming at this level is an art. The canvas is just being put on digital chips. That's how gaming should be pursued. If you look at gaming any other way, then you don't benefit the maturation of what can be done in gaming. Because just focusing on, we could put 1,000 NPCs or do all this superficial stuff doesn't matter if the game isn't constructed in an artful way that is tantalizing and engrosses the player in the experience. If it just becomes a fancier digital Uno, then you're missing the point. And when you have consolidation of this fashion, you get a bunch of Redfalls. Games that are like, look, this has to hit a deadline. It has to reach a cadence. Put it out there. It's in a subscription model. What do you expect? And subscription models are failing even in more reasonable genres for it, like TV. TVs are more reasonable genres for subscription models, and they're failing there. And everybody trying to cut the cord and deal with $300 cable prices. You pick the subscription service that you want and you go with it, and they're failing there because they thought that they could stuff a whole bunch of stuff in a very small price, and the only 30% of their player or their consumer base would be actually consuming all that stuff, where the other 70% would set it and forget it. And that is a failing proposal. They thought they would be able to get so much more people that would just set it and forget it. And that is wrong. So if you have a situation where the average gamer for each generation only buys 2 games a year, and they only have 7 to 9 games in their entire catalog for a generation, don't you think it's going to be worse? They're consuming less. The average gaming consumer consumes less than the average TV watcher. They only want 2 games. And they can play those 2 games over and over all year. That's it. That's all they want. They don't want a whole bunch of stuff. So you have, again, that's why I say TV subscription models are more designed for TV watchers opposed to gaming subscription models. And they're failing in the TV sector. So the reason why I'm bringing all this up and what this got to do with Final Fantasy 14, because Final Fantasy 14 doesn't appear to be coming into Game Pass, is that this is a signal that Microsoft is starting to wake up, and I'm all for it. Wake up and realize that this value proposition that they tried to dominate the market with is not going to work. I think there are some more, because a lot of people have been kind of semi-gasping at some of the things that Microsoft has been, oh, they raised the price of this and this. Get ready to gasp some more, but it's needed. What do I mean? If you were paying attention to the court documents, you've noticed a couple of things within the last couple of days. One, Xbox, Amy Hood, I believe her name is. She's Satya Nadella's assistant. And she outlined how, if they're not doing well in software, they don't want to create a whole bunch of hardware. But that's not understanding the business, because you have to take the hit in hardware and just heavily market. And if you do that right, you'll make up in the software. And the difference maker in the software is it's psychological. It's your exclusives. The majority of the gamers that are out there don't buy the exclusives. But what the exclusives do is they separate the boxes. The number one grossing game, God of War, is exclusive to PlayStation. Oh, well, I guess I want to play Call of Duty on PlayStation. Because if they got the number one grossing game or the number one acclaimed game, that's where everybody's playing at. And so I want to go where everybody's playing Call of Duty at. Or you might have friends that you play with where are you playing at? I'm playing on PlayStation. Oh, why are you playing on PlayStation? Oh man, PlayStation got God of War. Yeah, I chop it up with y'all on Call of Duty, but that's not all I play. I played it. Oh man, okay. And that guy that's playing God of War or whatever, he's probably the best dude on the team. So you want to go where Refro goes, right? That's where you want to go. You want to go where he goes. I had a friend. Well, my brother had a friend that was a developer at Bethesda years back. And this is how our clan, the Old Dirty Blasters, came about. It was me, him, and my brother, and we was all playing Destiny. And we would play Destiny every night, 6, 7, 8 hours. It was horrible. I was addicted to Destiny. We would play Destiny like 8 hours every night. I was going to bed like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, get up. I would get up at 7, go to work. You know what I'm saying? It was beautiful. Anywho, so Destiny was the game that we played. And even though this guy was a developer for Bethesda, I was the best player in the squad. So our plan was we were not going to get PlayStation 4s or Xbox Ones. We were going to stay on the 360. That's where we were playing Destiny. We were going to stay on the 360, and we were going to wait until Destiny 2 came out on PC, because we heard it was coming to PC, and then we all were going to buy powerful rigs and play it on the PC. I was fine with that because I wanted to play Division 2 on PC. Here's the problem. As Division 2 was getting closer and closer to release, I was hearing more and more and more about hackers on the PC. They're like, hackers are ruining PC gaming and they're just going to destroy Division 2. I didn't realize, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that hackers didn't infiltrate Division 2, but I didn't realize how staunch and severe Ubisoft's anti-cheat stuff was, where they would keep that at bay to a reasonable level. So that made me panic, because really above Destiny 2, Division 2 was the game that I really wanted to play the most. The following, not Division 2, but the first Division was the game I wanted to play the most. So I abandoned our cause and I went and got an Xbox One and started playing Destiny on Xbox One, because even though it was cross progression, it wasn't cross, or it was cross save, it wasn't cross play. And I couldn't play with them anymore. And I spent money that I was going to use to upgrade my rig. So they were pissed. And then the group ended up disbanding. It was all because of me being selfish. Yes, I will admit. Because I was like, oh, I better. And Xbox One had a huge, like it was like $60 or $70 off the Division 2 bundle or something like that. Or something was going on. It was, no, I got the Assassin's Creed bundle. And it was like $70 off for Black Friday or something like that. And I went and got it. So that's the same scenario that happens with exclusives. Certain games will draw certain people, and it has effect even on the multiplats. And the people that play the exclusives, they're smaller in number, but in all likelihood, those are the best players because they play games more. Give you an example, my brother Cold Blood Sensei. Now, I got a cousin that plays only Call of Duty. That's all he plays. He will buy an Xbox or a PlayStation day one, but he's going wherever his friends are. But he plays Call of Duty faithfully every night. But that's all. I've tried to get him to play other games. He sits there, oh yeah, I'll play it. I've bought him other games. He will not. All he plays is Call of Duty. Okay. Let's just say, but Cold Blood Sensei, let's just say if he was part of the crew. Now, even though my cousin plays Call of Duty every day, Cold Blood Sensei, who probably doesn't play Call of Duty every day, is likely a better Call of Duty gamer than he is, because just the simple fact that he plays games more consistently and in a more broader breadth than my cousin, it means that he's probably better at gaming than my cousin is, period. So if we're all on the phone, my cousin is, if I were to tell my cousin, hey, I'm going to go get Call of Duty on Xbox. Oh, you are? He's probably going to say, well, hold on. Where's Cold Blood getting Call of Duty? Oh, Cold Blood's getting it on PlayStation. Guess what my cousin's going to do? He's going to say, oh, okay, hang up with me, buy a PlayStation, call up Cold Blood and say, look, I got a PlayStation. Let's hook up. You know what I'm saying? Let's clan up. That's how this dynamic works. So the exclusives, they work in so many ways. Even if you don't buy them, they have a psychological, it's kind of like marketing. They have a psychological impact to where they influence that small, hardcore user base so much that all that acclaim reverberates through the gaming space, and the people that probably will never pick up God of War, probably will never pick up Ghost of Tsushima, probably will never pick up Horizon Zero Dawn. When they hear that, they're like, well, damn, if they got the best games, they're probably the best at having games, period. This is where everybody's going to go. That's what I'm getting. That's why Xbox should have never given up and never let PlayStation aggressively get these games and they don't challenge them. Jim Ryan said it himself. If he said that he didn't feel like the Activision thing, at first he didn't feel like it was an exclusive play until he had concerns later, and that's why he challenged it. You got to remember chronologically, don't listen to the zealots. Jim Ryan at first laughed at the deal and said, wow, they well overpaid for that, right? But that was Satya again doing it because he wanted to block off Amazon and Google. That's why they paid $69 billion for this. Don't listen to anything else. I have a video in our Patreon that breaks down the date that Satya really started going ham on gaming, in the favor of gaming, not for the sake of Xbox, but for the sake of the cloud business. And it all stems from Minecraft. It all happened, I believe, January of 2019, I believe it was. That's when he started going berserk, and that's when his mind started spinning, and that's why he started spending so much money on these companies. It's not for the sake of gaming. It's for the sake of the cloud business. And if you can keep Call of Duty off your premier cloud, like, let me give you another example. Call of Duty, y'all don't realize Call of Duty's back end for like scores and just other stuff is being supported in the cloud. Guess who has that contract? Google Cloud has that contract. It's rumored to be their biggest cloud business contract to date, if not one of the biggest. Guess what happens when that deal goes through? They lose that business. They lose it. This was a play to keep the foot on the neck of Google, who was third in the cloud business space, and to help Microsoft in this ever-going battle to try to catch up to Amazon in the cloud. And Satya realized via Minecraft in 2019 that gaming was more integral to the cloud business period than he thought. So he started going ham. I break it down. There is a video that we have in our Patreon you need to go check out. Go to www.patreon.com/PNTS network. And you can check it out. But that's why he did this deal. To smother Google even further. To kill that business that was so vital to them. It was vital. And hopefully keep Call of Duty off of Luna, which would further the gap between them and Amazon, AWS. That was the main reason for this deal. Don't get me wrong, there's benefits with mobile and all that other stuff, but if you follow the chain of events and what Satya did and the stuff that he closed down after that and the rampage he went on effective January of 2019, it'll all make sense to you. Watch that video. But that was their decision to no longer double down on exclusive deals. Because Satya said, well, let's just buy this. And now he's realizing that, okay, even though we want to smother out Amazon and Google, we got to get this money back. Like, we have to justify this beyond just wanting to smother out our competition. This has to generate revenue for us that justifies the purchase. Now, granted, if they keep everything multi-plat, all the Activision stuff multi-plat, including Call of Duty, they'll get their money back in 10 years. Wow! Because think about it. Activision Blizzard brings in about $7 billion a year. They're paying $70 billion for the purchase. Well, now 75. So now, and they sign what? 10-year deals. So they get their money back in 10 years. Woo! Imagine that. So you don't get that in all these other zealot podcasts because they just want to sit here and talk about it's all PlayStation's fault. It's all No, Satya has been on a rampage, ignorant of the art and not understanding that you can't do the value proposition in gaming. Why? Because the average gamer only buys 2 games a year. He didn't understand that dynamic. So that's why he was trying to shove Game Pass down everyone's throats, and it's not going to work that way in gaming. Not saying Game Pass doesn't have a place, but putting all your day-and-day stuff in there, which I feel like they're going to backtrack on because they said in the court documents via the emails that were revealed that they were like, well, you know, we somebody had brought up the idea of peeling back day and date, and Matt Booty said, well, we can't do that. This is early on. I think this was 2019. He says that. He said, we can't do that because would people trust in xCloud and then Mixer if we did that? Well, guess what? xCloud, you said it's a failure. Mixer's gone. What's your reasoning now for not scaling back on that? I'm expecting in the next year or two, you're going to see day and date for all Xbox games go the way of the dodo bird. I think you're going to see Call of Duty in there because Call of Duty will be a big draw. But then you got to ask yourself over the next few years, what's going to happen to the quality? I think year one in there is going to be still good. Year two, possibly. But after that, who knows? But then games like Diablo, whatever, I don't think you see them in their day and date. I don't think you see these big ticket games that cost a lot of money in their day and date. Maybe if they're games as a service games, they're in there. But outside of some of the games as a service games, I don't think you see these games in their day and date. Excuse me. So he said, Cold Blood said they ain't even getting 70 billion in 10 years. I think they will. If they keep the games multi-plat, they'll get it. People will keep playing Call of Duty on PlayStation. People will keep playing it on Xbox. They'll keep buying the games as atypical. And they'll get their 70 billion back in 10 years. And it's going to take them that long to figure out what they're going to do with xCloud. I think they're going to actually nix xCloud, put it on a hiatus or something like that, or come up with something new. And they realize it's going to take them 10 years to do that. They're not really, well, they are, and they might not. They might just leave it as is for the sake of Fortnite, because I think they're doing okay with Fortnite and the cloud. But expect them to do something there too. All right. Well, we spent a lot of time on that, but just wanted to put that out there. I think this is a sign that Xbox realizes that we foregone some things last generation that we shouldn't have, and we need to do better. And I think you're going to see more second party deals, timed exclusives, and you're going to see some pullback of some day and date stuff. I think that's needed. That's better. That's needed. Is that automatically make Xbox as good as PlayStation? No. But it sets them right back on the right course. And then hopefully it's a fruitful lesson for Satya Nadella to wake up and understand you can't just be ignorant to the art like this. And then hopefully that's a wake-up call that even if they want to keep Phil Spencer, they got to replace Matt Booty or put somebody in between Matt and Phil that understands the art. They need like a Jack Tretton or somebody in there. Somebody the equivalent of a Peter Moore, somebody that understands games, a Sean Layton, that knows how to say, yeah, that's a great product. No, that needs to go back in the oven. Because nobody at Xbox right now knows how to do that. They just don't know how to execute on their, they don't know how to follow through on their executables at all. At all. The only thing that I will give Microsoft credit for, as far as innovation is concerned, this generation, is their controller. The latency on their controllers is superb. What they've done. They went from the worst to significantly the best as far as latency is concerned. It's amazing. That's the only thing they've been good at is the controller, and consistent with is the controller. That's why they sell so many of them. That's it. I give them that. People are like, oh, the auto resume. Yeah, the PlayStation got a version of that's well enough. Where are the games? Now, something that impacts gameplay is the controller and the latency, so kudos to them on that. But that's it. They've lost their edge on the online, as far as online stability and being the best place to play. On PlayStation now is there as well. It's good enough. They've lost the edge even in the subscription model. Now they're mimicking PlayStation Plus. The user interface, it's more mimicking PlayStation. They have no innovative edge. People say, well, xCloud, I mean, I'm not going to give you a gold star because you handed me a cup of piss that went down smoother than the poop sandwich. xCloud and PlayStation Cloud they're both trash right now. xCloud goes down a little bit smoother. It's the cup of pee opposed to the poop sandwich. The only thing that I will give them kudos for as far as innovating is the controller. Controller's fantastic. But Xbox, they got a long way to go. But if this is a sign that they're looking back to 360 and they're like, maybe we shouldn't have abandoned this stuff, I'm all for it. A better Microsoft, a one that can really compete with PlayStation as far as offerings and quality, I'm all for it. And I can't wait to see that day if this is what they're realizing. But ultimately, they're not going to get there unless they get the talent in there, which, they can do it, but they got to come to that recognition, and they get the talent in there that can, do better with games. Then I'm all for it. All right, let's continue on because we ain't got much time. So really our first topic is Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank. This was a peculiar one. So I want to bring that up. If I can find my notes. Let's talk about Ratchet and Clank. So Rift Apart is an exceptional game by many's account, but it stirred up quite a bit of controversy when it made its way to PC, when it released earlier this week. So let's break down. Let's look at three subsections that I want to phrase this discussion in surrounding this controversy. Okay, and those three subsections are why Insomniac didn't lie about the PlayStation 5 SSD, the false claims by overzealous PlayStation fanboys, and lastly, the content creators trying to blur the lines. So let's talk about why Insomniac didn't lie. And to help you understand this, I want to show you guys and gals this right here. All right, so this is a tweet that I put out there, and I said, so everyone argued me down and said that they, as far as Insomniac, lied about Ratchet and Clank. What did I tell you? The Portal attempt is horrendous on HDD. The effect accomplished on the PS5 is not possible on every drive. Have a wonderful gaming day. What am I talking about? Well, I'm going to show you because we're going to play this part, this excerpt. Shout out to Reforged Gaming. He pulled this excerpt out of a Digital Foundry video where they're comparing Ratchet and Clank to a high-end PC, PlayStation 5, and PlayStation 4, similar specs in the PC with a PlayStation 4 HDD drive. All right. So I want everybody to see this, and the PlayStation 1 is going to be in the middle. I want you guys to hear what's being said, and then we're going to talk about it on the back end. Hold on.
This is the big scene. Let's see how they stack up against one another. I'm excited to see Rich's PC during this section.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching Rich's PC primarily here.
Yeah, we've seen it on
Remember,
ours.
PlayStation's in the middle.
Whoa, bit of stutter there. Whoa, here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's, well,
PlayStation 3 settings are on the right.
HDD.
Yeah.
Or PlayStation 4 settings are on the right.
Woo. We've got the bobbing head Clank there.
I love that. Okay,
It's
there he
working.
goes.
It's doing something.
Ooh.
I mean, this is a really old SSD.
But the funny thing is, like, Rich, if you look at it, your GPU utilization goes into the toilet as soon as you go into the portal.
So it's assuming it must be either the GPU being used to decompress and it's a different kind of utilization that isn't fully tapping into the
RTSS,
GPU, or it's the CPU.
This is the big scene. Let's see how they stack up against one.
Okay, so you saw that. All right. You saw the 3 gameplays with the PlayStation 5 in the middle, the PC with the PlayStation 4 similar specs and an actual PlayStation 4 hard drive in it, and to the right. That was the play to the right, and then the PlayStation the actual place in an actual max settings PC to the left. And the PlayStation 5 outperformed all of them in performance ray tracing mode. All right. So why did I bring that up? Well, in 2023, Digital Foundry performed the tech analysis that you just saw, which revealed that playing Rift Apart on PC without an SSD was not playable when it came to those portals on the PlayStation 4 settings, right? And that's what Insomniac said. Insomniac said that the game wouldn't be playable on those parts without the PlayStation SSD, really in comparison to other PlayStations. They weren't even comparing it to PC. But they put PC up there as well because the community was hubbubbing about PC, right? The people are like, no, MM. They were saying that the game wasn't playable at all without the SSD. Well, because you guys lie and you don't pay attention to stuff, I took the liberty upon myself to go out here and play the excerpt for you from the video that's starting all this controversy. Let's play that.
Ratchet Clank is a series that prides itself on exploration of exotic worlds and bringing you to places you've never been before. And that's something that we're really striving for, and that PlayStation 5 is really allowed with just increased horsepower. The number of objects in the world and the things to explore, the enemies around, the effects, everything is more. This is what we're trying to do, is build worlds that feel real and are bringing you in. You're exploring these brand new spaces. And this is something that we never could have done on previous generations.
Did you hear that? That's something that never could have been done on previous generations. Let's continue. He didn't say this is something that can't be done on Xbox. It can't be done on PC. He's talking solely about PlayStation. This is something that couldn't be done on previous generations. And he's talking about the smoothness of the play. And we see that he's telling the truth based upon what Digital Foundry put out there. They emulated a PC with the same specs as the PlayStation 4, put in a PlayStation 4 hard drive, and you saw how poorly it ran. So he didn't lie there about how it plays better on the PlayStation 5 in comparison to what? Other generations of PlayStations. Let's continue.
Ratchet Clank Rift Apart is a game that utilizes dimensions and dimensional rifts, and that would not have been possible without the solid-state drive of the PlayStation 5.
Again, he says we're using the SSD, the solid-state drive that's creating these instantaneous dimensional rifts, smooth gameplay again, that wouldn't have been possible. The rifts wouldn't have been possible without the solid state drive. Not the game, the rifts would have not been possible without the solid state drive. But let's continue.
The SSD is screamingly fast. It allows us to build worlds and project players from one place to another in near instantaneous speeds.
You hear that? It allows us to project worlds and put players through them in instantaneous speeds. That's how he's telling you that the PlayStation 5 SSD makes it possible for them to do things with these dimensional rifts, not the entire game, the dimensional rifts that couldn't be done elsewhere. Let's continue.
It is unbelievable game changer in terms of we can now do gameplay where you're in one world and the next moment you're in another. And we're loading up levels that happen so quickly and in the action that you don't even imagine that this is something that we couldn't do before because it feels so natural. Long gone are loading screens. Now it's all about bringing exciting new adventures.
So there you have it. He says these are things that we couldn't have done before. Not that nobody else can't do elsewhere. He said these are things that we couldn't have done before. The overall theme or the thesis is previous generations. We could not do this before. Now we can. Thanks to the power of the PlayStation 5, which is more powerful than the PlayStation 4, and thanks to the SSD, when it comes to the dimensional rifts, we can do this where we could not do this before. They weren't even talking about PC, but for craps and giggles, Digital Foundry, because the conversation, people were moving the goalposts, they brought in a high quality PC and they played it side by side, and you see where the PlayStation still outperformed the PC. Now, that doesn't mean that the PlayStation 5 is more powerful than a high-end PC. This game was built specifically for PlayStation. But what it says is, at its very nominal price of $400 if you just get the digital edition, the PlayStation 5 packs a mighty punch. And you can have games that once you optimize them specifically for the PlayStation 5, they can do some cool things. And it broadens the horizons of the people that you can do them for as a consumer base because the PlayStation 4's low price point. That's not to be mistaken, or that's not to be overlooked. Again, PC gives you more raw power. PC gives you more capabilities. However, when it comes specifically to gaming, if people develop specifically to the PlayStation 5, you have a balance and value proposition that speaks wonders to gamers, and that is not to be overlooked. So the point is, there really shouldn't even be a discussion between PC gamers and PlayStation gamers. This was an argument that was started by Xbox zealots who wanted to talk trash on PlayStation, listen to some dumb developer that made Lego games, and fell for his bullpucky. You shouldn't even be in this discussion. I had PlayStation people come to me in this thread that I had put out here and said, "Oh, you're trying to say that PlayStation is better than a bit." No! As someone who plays mainly PC games myself, I get the importance that high-end rigs have in many situations, but you are not to overlook the power and the capabilities that are possible for $400 through PlayStation. And I know people sit there and say, well, if you do this and you buy this part and you buy this PC part, you can get better performance than the PlayStation 5. Show me. Show me. Because I'm going to tell you this. There are people who are developing games. I mean, there are people who are using rigs that are way more expensive and powerful than the PlayStation 5 in raw power. But they're still not getting the effects that you're getting from PlayStation 5, particularly when it comes to their games. I mean, if how a PlayStation game performs really isn't your issue, and you're just buying something for multiplats, and you got the money, I would suggest that if you're a multiplat gamer, please do not go and buy a PC with comparable parts to a PlayStation in price. Don't do that, because the optimization that goes into PlayStation games for the PlayStation 5, that performance on that PC will never match the performance on the PlayStation 5 to comparable PC parts. Maybe for multiplat, there'll be an even trade-off or a better trade-off, but not for a PlayStation 5 game. So if PlayStation 5 games are your lick, but you're like, man, I want to get a PC because I want to play everything, you better still be prepared to pay 3 times the amount of the PlayStation in order to do so. You cannot put together a comparable PC in parts and price to a PlayStation 5 and get the same result in games like Ratchet & Clank or any other PlayStation exclusive. It's not happening. As someone who's built PCs and sold them to other people, that was a side hustle for me. I ran a business off of that. I am telling you, don't you do that. Don't do that. Do not listen to these bozos. A multiplat game that isn't, that's, evenly optimized everywhere, maybe so. But don't you do that. Okay? Next. So now that are we done with this whole bullpucky about they lied? They were talking about when they couldn't do what they couldn't do before on the PlayStation 4. That had Xbox zealots say, oh no, it's possible on the PlayStation 3, said this dumb Lego developer. And he was just debunked. I wouldn't want this guy developing another game for me. That's just me. Not because he said something, but again, if he actually lived and died off of something so stupid, it's just the thought of it is stupid. You're having a game that develops using the SSD in a vital way, opposed to an HDD. How dumb of a developer can you be to die off of something like that? This isn't even about Xbox. This ain't even about PlayStation. The same with Xbox. This was an Xbox zealot argument for Twitter that's been debunked. This really doesn't have anything to do with the PC master race. They shouldn't even be involved here. But those that fall into this stupid fusion, or we're with the Xbox kids. No, the Xbox community is dead weight. PC master race, really, y'all should be above it all. The Xbox community is dead weight. I get that there's games that they have that are coming day and date to PC, and that's cool and all. Just enjoy those games and go about your business. It's dead weight when it comes to these arguments. Next, let's talk about the false claims from the overzealous PlayStation fanboys. Now, unfortunately, some PlayStation fanboys tried to change the narrative, falsely claiming that the entire game couldn't be played without the PlayStation 5 SSD. This misinformation created confusion for other fanboys that didn't do their research and fueled stupid debates online. But that's what happens when you listen to any fanboy on any side. Like, I've learned a long time ago, there are some people that I generally agree with when they say things, but I don't just go retweet what they put out there. I got to research it. That's rule number one. So that's not really a PlayStation thing, even though that is what happened. You had a lot of people that, again, wanted to jump into the Twitter wars. Oh, no, this is only possible. This game is only, and you know, and for those, if those people get exposed on Twitter, whatever. But that should not be conflated. And that goes to our last point. That should not be conflated into what Insomniac and PlayStation said. And see, if the debate was all you PlayStation ponies that said that it couldn't be, if that was the argument in the debate, then I would be, we wouldn't even need to do this section. But when the debate became Sony and Insomniac lied because Papa Phil told you that you got to make Sony look bad every single way, y'all tried to leapfrog the PlayStation fanboys, and instead of clowning them, you went straight for PlayStation. And now you look foolish because Papa Phil told you that, PlayStation is making it hard for us to be Xbox. So you had to go, and now you look dumb. And you're being outsold 3-1 or 2-1. But we'll get to that soon. Lastly, the content creators blurring the lines. Look, content creators have a responsibility to present accurate information. So for those that were blurring the line trying to say that Insomniac lied, shame on you. However, some blurred the lines between what Insomniac said and what overzealous fanboy said, leading to equal dishonesty. It's essential to differentiate between official statement and fan speculation. So with all that said, the moral of the story is Insomniac didn't lie. Everything was proven. Reforged Gaming said this best, I think. He said, but through all the hoopla, all y'all did was make Ratchet and Clank even more popular because all of y'all zealots, for the sake of, this is how stupid y'all are. All you dumb zealots, for the sake of Xbox, went and bought Ratchet and Clank and was running tests, and you probably ran tests so long that you can't refund the game now, that you done nothing but promote PlayStation and Ratchet and Clank, and you bought a copy. Xbox's grip on you is so severe that, and not only are they not paying you or giving you anything for your evangelist marketing, but they're making you come out of pocket to try to make them look right when you can't. I don't like this term because I thought it was silly, but I think it's so prevalent in 2023. The corporate slavery that I see here is repulsive. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. You guys actually went out of pocket, and I bet you can't even refund the game now because you went over the 2-hour mark or whatever. You went and came out of pocket to try to prove Sony wrong and the right of, for the sake of PlayStation, and all you did was add to their bottom line and actually make PlayStation look better, because now you showed, even though it's not as good as the PlayStation 5 version, you still showed PC gamers that might have the specs that can run it. Well, hey, look, run it, grab this. It's still going to play fantastic. This is not going to be like The Last of Us Part 1. Any PC gamer that was leery of getting another PlayStation PC port because of Last of Us Part 1, you now put them at ease. And you now are making the game have more sales than they originally would have had. You are pathetic. If you're one of those people that did it solely to hurt PlayStation, you don't understand how stupid and how usable you are. You are idiots, and I love it. You're idiots, and I love it. Like I said this last week. I hope that you zealots spend your way out of your house. You lose your utilities get shut off. I hope all that happens. for the sake of your fandom for a brand. And this is step one in that process. Y'all thought, oh man, what's going on with this guy? He's hoping people go homeless. No, I'm just telling you your future because you're so stupid and you're so easy to read. This is step one in that process. You actually went out of your pocket to buy Ratchet and Clank. Most of y'all likely can't even take it back because you wanted to do these stupid tests just for the sake of Xbox. When you could have took that money and bought Redfall and supported Redfall a little bit more, right? And speaking of Redfall, I got another comment that I got out here that I think crystallizes this whole debate. If a certain fan base were as focused on what was true about how Redfall would perform and play on their console as much as they were about Ratchet and Clank on HDDs, maybe, just maybe, you fill in the blanks. That's it for that. Let's go on to our next subject matter. But I'm gonna check out the chat real quick. Hold on one second. I sent a text. Okay. All right. Got a few more moments. Let's check out the chat. Says it's sad that PC dudes don't appreciate Ratchet and Clank at all. They get a quality game and then they try to do is prove that the SSD is not needed instead of talking about, you know what, but it's okay. It's okay, Cold Blood, because this is how stupid they are too. They bought the game. They bought the game and they supported it. And in doing all those dimensional rifts and all that other stuff, I hope in them doing their testing, it went over the time frame that they could spend to where they can't return the game. I hope it did. I hope it did, because all they did was a bunch of free marketing for PlayStation. They showed other PC gamers who aren't as petty, who aren't stupid, who aren't falling for the I'm going to make fun of the pony bandwagon. They showed them, oh snap, that's a hell of a port. Let me go pick that up. That's what they did. They may have been Larry because of Last of Us Part 1. Now they're like, oh man, that port. No, Sony learned their lesson. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel for, and again, the PC master race, they're supposed to be smarter, right? Ain't they supposed to be the smarter gamers? You know what? These gamers that we see part of the PC master race that are actually getting into the console wars, these are not true PC gamers. Like the PC master race, they talk about how PlayStation gamers are arrogant. PC master race gamers are the most arrogant gamers out there. And what they'll do every now and again is they'll pop their head in every now and again and say, you peasants. Like you'll be sitting there arguing and fighting in the classroom, and then the comme de la com or whatever, the top tier students of the class of the school will pop their heads in there. They'll hear you scuffling in there, and they'll just stick their heads in, you peasants. And then they'll just shut the door and walk off. That's what real PC master is. And every now and again, somebody will bring up PC and talk smack, and then they'll come out of the woods and there'll be a battle then, and then they'll go off into the, I smell like console peasantry. And they'll go on about their business. You know what I'm saying? But real PC gamers or real PCMR gamers, they don't get into console squabble. I don't get this new breed. I know there's creators out here that are trying to buy a waffle, but I'm not talking about them. You're being pilfered by them. And if you're dumb enough to do it, that's on you. They're not dumb because they're running a hustle on you. You're the one being hustled, so you're the dummy. I'm talking about the ones that are actually falling for this propaganda And I actually think that now it's their job as a PC gamer to jump in the middle of a PlayStation/Xbox debate. And to do it for the sake of Phil Spencer of all, that has to be low. Like this new breed of PC gamer, and my son is part of them now. This new breed of PC gamer, they're lower than low, and I'm taking, and that's coming from someone who primarily plays on PC games. Like the PC master race I'm used to, they are above it all. They please. This is a waste of energy. It's all about WASD. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not getting into this. There's no WASD. You know what I mean? It's a new breed, man. New breed. So, there you have it. Let's talk about 9th gen battles. Is a generation almost over? I want to show you guys some stuff. This comes from our homeboy Steven Totillo. He's a source just a general source that is great. He shows you that Microsoft gaming revenue for 12 months ending June 30th, that's the end of their fiscal year, is down $764 million. Jesus Christ. Hardware revenue down 11%. Services down 3%. He breaks down the numbers here. This is happening while PlayStation is celebrating selling 40 million units. And there's a story on IGN where it talks about, sorry for the mic hit, Xbox having this poor fiscal year. And let's look at what it says about PlayStation in contrast. It says, hold on, why won't this ever work the way it's supposed to? Okay. Say in quarter 4, ending March of 2023, PlayStation, because their fiscal year is different, PlayStation reported hardware sales 3 times stronger year over year and announced it sold nearly as many units in the previous financial year as it had in one prior, bringing the total sales of units to 38.4 million units. Granted, this was 1 quarter ago, so it's possible Sony reports similarly slowed sales and earnings on August 9th, but the total difference between the two companies remains stark nonetheless. So we're going to see what's going on with Sony as of August 9th. But they've sold, but this was before they announced that they sold over 40 million consoles. So I don't expect it to look similar. I mean, I could be wrong. We'll see. Yeah, man. It's a shame. So in the shifting of gears here, let's discuss the ongoing battle between these two consoles, PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series. Now, the sell numbers have been staggering, and it's crucial to understand why PlayStation is winning the race. Xbox is now on pace of being outsold 2-1, affecting the developer interest. Look, with PlayStation 5 outselling the Xbox Series by such a significant margin now, developers may find the latter platform less attractive. The larger user base on PlayStation becomes a primary target for game development, potentially leaving Xbox as the Call of Duty and Bethesda box. You got to think about it. We just talked about Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank now has shown a lot of developers, hey, look, for this less expensive box, you can do all these crazy things, these cool things that rival some things that can be even done on PC, even though we weren't trying to compare ourselves to PC. But hey, if you do it, take a look. We give PC gaming in certain aspects a run for their money when you optimize your game for our platform. Look, we're going to tell you, come on over to PlayStation. And as that margin continues to widen, you're going to see a repeat of what you saw last generation, where people are going to skip Xbox altogether. Xbox is going to have to pay significantly for them, or they're just going to have to rely on Activision and Bethesda. And that could be, somewhat of a sustaining proposal. We don't know, but for them, because them as a business, there are enough people that want to play Activision and Bethesda games to where it can sustain you as a platform, but you're going to get a more well-rounded entree of games when it comes to PlayStation. And they have a bigger footprint. They're in more homes. So, you know, and people may say, oh, no, that's not true because the monthly active users. Let's put this in perspective. There's no doubt about it. Xbox's main product is Game Pass. So much so that 70% of the current generation of console gamers for Xbox, 70% of them own Game Pass. And I think that's equivalent to why, when it comes to a la carte game sales, you're seeing only 30% of them on average come from Xbox, to where 65 to even 70% are coming from PlayStation this generation, because the overwhelming majority of Xbox gamers have Game Pass, and Game Pass for those Xbox owners is the only way they want to engage with games is via Game Pass. So if it's not in Game Pass, they're not buying it. So then again, that turns it to where, well, why would I even waste my time and effort putting this game on Xbox when I can just go all out on PlayStation and PC? That's going to essentially turn Xbox into a Game Pass box. It's just an entryway for you to get Game Pass. And again, like I said, that could be sustainable, but that's not going to bring the level of competition that they're going to need. Because Xbox is going to have Call of Duty, which is the biggest game out of that plot. They're going to continue to have that game. And they're going to continue to have other games like Spider-Man, God of War, and other games that they're developing that are going to bring more people to their ecosystem, and it's going to keep the margins wide between the two. Xbox's mistake with exclusivity deals is something to factor into. Their decision to make already known multi-platform games exclusive is not going to lead them past the finish line as they need. There's a difference between working with Ken Levine and Take-Two and bringing forth a game that has never been seen or experienced before in BioShock to the gaming masses. That's different at an exclusive level than saying, okay, we're going to buy all of Take-Two, so now Borderlands and NBA 2K is now an Xbox exclusive. That doesn't show any innovation or any ingenuity to gamers, and it's not going to create the buzz that you want. It's going to create headlines, but it's not going to create the consumer buzz that you want. What creates the consumer buzz that you want is when people feel like that you can inspire and curate great titles because you know how to make great games. That's the mistake in their strategy. They were better off doing what Jim Ryan said. They were better off spending. He said if what they could have done is spent $5 billion to get Call of Duty exclusive. I think Satya Nadella heard that and said, well, we're going to spend that type of money. We might as well go for the gusto and just buy them all together. And I don't think that's a smart move. Because what's going to happen now is that's just going to continue to create a dynamic to where PlayStation is just going to continue to create better games. Your problem is you don't know how to create or partner with people to make great new experiences. Some point in time, Call of Duty is going to get old. Hell, they're even talking now that X-Defiant could be nipping at their heels. What are you going to do, Xbox, if Call of Duty is no longer the king of the mountain in the shooters? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if that dynamic happens, this deal is for naught. You wasted $75 billion. This is all about Call of Duty. That could be heads would have to roll. If X-Defiant dethrones Call of Duty in the next few years, heads would have to roll. Or Xbox can't be taken seriously at all. It's not about you just using your buying power and absorbing stuff that people are already used to. They want to see you inspire new stuff. That's where the art comes in, Satya, Phil. And you need to spend that money to obtain talent that can create those experiences. That's where again, it's not about you buying Take-Two and absorbing Borderlands or whatever. It's not about you doing that. It's about you partnering with Ken Levine, supporting and funding BioShock, and helping it become the most genre-defining game that we've seen in the past 20 years, in my opinion. That was huge for Xbox. Pivotal point for Xbox. Even bigger than Halo. Halo was huge. Halo kept Xbox's name out there. Halo didn't keep the race tight. What tightened the race is you're inspiring games like BioShock, Mass Effect, marketing rights to Fallout. This is the definitive place to play Fallout 3. That inspiration of new genre-defining gaming is what does it. And you don't have the talent to manage that. That's where the money needs spent. So if anything, you wanted to buy Bethesda, fine. I think that was a great acquisition. I think the Activision acquisition was a problem. You were better off buying Call of Duty exclusive for 5 years, or putting it in Game Pass for like 5 years, or spending 10 billion, 50, 20, whatever to do a 5-year exclusive deal with Grand Theft Auto 6. You were better off doing something like that with a single franchise here and there, and then using the rest of the money to pull in talent so you can start creating these great games. Because what's going to happen when Call of Duty run its course? Really, this is all infringing upon Call of Duty. People are already complaining about Call of Duty. When Call of Duty starts running its course, what are you going to do? And what if that happens before these 10-year deals maturize and you get your money back? What are you going to do? This is all infringing upon the continued success of Call of Duty. If Call of Duty doesn't continue to be a success, this is an automatic failure. And Call of Duty being a success through these 10 years doesn't automatically make it a success. But if Call of Duty isn't a success, it automatically makes it a failure. The smarter thing to have done would have been to spend $5 billion to $10 billion and make Call of Duty exclusive for 5 years. Put it in Game Pass. They messed up. Hopefully they'll fix it. Lastly, the biggest mistake is focusing on evangelism marketing and losing casual gamers. Xbox's emphasis on evangelism marketing may have missed the mark with casual gamers. While marketing is crucial, the primary focus should be delivering high quality, exclusive games and enhancing the gamer experience for all players. When you have creators out here saying there's going to be 40 to 50 frame deltas, other people that are supposedly developers that are saying things like, I'm hearing from other developers that Xbox Series X is going to destroy PlayStation as far as capabilities, but it's still capable of creating great games for PlayStation. And none of that comes to fruition. Like you're kicking the can down the road where the road is eventually going to end. Like, if you're going to kick this can down the road, fine, but you need to at the same time be building, some type of other street that you know what I'm saying, that you can divert to. You didn't launch with any heavy titles. You still don't. I mean, everything is infringed right now upon Starfield. For people to even take you seriously. Yes, if the Activision Blizzard deal goes through, as a lot of us feel like it's going to happen, you still have a lifeline. You still don't win. When you do the math, with Activision Blizzard, they're still in third place. Satya Nadella admitted so in court. They're still behind Tencent and PlayStation. You've closed the gap considerably, but you're still behind them. And again, that doesn't guarantee success because everything is infringing upon the success of Call of Duty. So what do you do? When you've had creators say these things and already in year 3, going into year 4, they're already out of excuses. Gaming is an art, and somebody there has to respect the art. If somebody in a super high powerful position does not respect the art, Xbox is going to fail ultimately. Now, people are mad at Kid Smooth. He's out here saying Xbox should be sold to Apple. I think Apple made comments about Xbox a long time ago about them being horrible in so many ways with their products, and they don't know how to innovate. I always felt like on the gaming side they did, because the gaming group were different. They were outside of the norm. But now that I think you have the corporate infrastructure of Microsoft that have totally infiltrated, as far as the mind state is concerned, and have totally infiltrated Xbox, yeah, I think it applies. Do I think that Xbox will be better served at Apple? Absolutely. The only place I think Xbox wouldn't be better served is Google. They're the only, and again, I'm not saying this because of the Stadia team. The Stadia team, starting with Jack Buser, who's now in the cloud business, all the way down to Shaka and Gracie and all of them. That team was phenomenal. They understood gaming. I'm talking about the decision makers, the people at Satya and Ann's level over there at Google. They are horrible. They don't understand this, and they have no place in trying to manage gaming. They're the only people that I feel like would be worse than Microsoft. Everybody else, I think Xbox will be better at Amazon, definitely. I think Xbox will be better at at Apple, a whole bunch of other places. And people may say Amazon. Look, Amazon Gaming, they created 2 hits in Lost Ark and the other game, New World. And arguably, those games have created more buzz and have been more successful than any Xbox game, any Xbox AAA action game in years. They have a better eye for games. You give them all this IP without Activision, Amazon is going to destroy. They would destroy gaming, especially with their war chest. They would destroy it. They have a team better over there that understands gaming. They just don't have the partnerships yet. They just don't have the resources yet, as far as, a catalog and all the other stuff. But if they had Microsoft's catalog with Xbox, it would be over. So people are mad at Kid Smooth, whatever. Just hold the line. Just hold the line. All right. With that said, we're running out of time. My last thoughts. Let me see. Let's read these comments, and then we're gonna go to. Said X Defiant is dog-ish. Only Dumb A would say it's better than COD. Well, we'll see. I know a lot of COD people that are playing X Defiant and they're like, you know what, we're tired of seeing Call of Duty. So it's all about the psychological mind state, Cold Blood. If that's what they believe, then that's their reality. Perception is 9/10 of the law. I don't play Call of Duty, and I don't like X Defiant either. I don't like, it's just not my thing. I liked it better before the iteration that it is in now, but those games aren't made for people like me. That being said, if that's what the consumer base starts to believe and Call of Duty starts losing its edge, oh well. Whether that's the reality or not, the perception is 9/10 of the law. He said Colt Eastwood capped himself in the corner with Techland. Laugh out loud. Now Tencent got them. Yeah, he did say that Microsoft was going to buy Techland. I remember that. Yeah, there was just a lot of. Oh yeah, and I wanted to bring that up too. I'm glad you brought that up, Cold Blood. He's the de facto co-host of the show. There was a lot of talk about this corporate chivalry, or not chivalry, but shilling. There was a podcaster, an Xbox influencer that, or whatever you want to call them, that talked about how Microsoft would reach out to people to try to damage control and put out talking points or whatever. And they were like, people just misrepresented what was being shared. That happens everywhere. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. As someone who was vital as I was to the Stadia footprint on Twitter, like single-handedly, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, I'm just stating facts. Stadia is dead. I can't cash that in now. I'm just stating facts. There was nobody more widely recognized on the gaming stratosphere for representing Stadia on Twitter than myself. There may have been people that have more followers on their YouTube channels or whatever, but on a more global scale, because I was connected to mainstream gamers, there were more people that knew of me for liking Stadia and they didn't know anybody else. That's why. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that I won over a lot of people, but they knew me as the Stadia guy. That's why when I hit a meager 200 subscribers, they sent me a care package. I get all that. I've had conversations with reps from that side. I believe, on multiple occasions. No, nobody's ever contacted me and said, MM2K, look, we got some bad news coming, and we want to let you know in advance. Like, there was the one bad news that I kind of found out that had a huge effect on Stadia, came from an Xbox source. That was Outriders was coming day and date to Game Pass. And I created, Google never reached out to me. And I have relationships with other platforms in the past and even now. They don't do that. They may see, what they do is they may see a complaint or may hear a topic. They listen to the content, and if you're complaining about something, or if your viewership is complaining about something, they'll reach out with you behind the scenes and say, hey, look, let's have a conversation about that thing you were talking about. Help us better understand what it is that you or your viewers are looking for us to do. They may do that. But nobody's ever said, hey, look, we're getting rid of this game on the platform, or we're raising our prices and we want to give you these talking points because it's bad news. No, nobody does that. I get embargoed information from NVIDIA about what's going on. That's that. There are no, damage control. There are no damage control talking points. Like, nobody does this. What was explained in that podcast, and particularly in that clip, nobody does that except for Xbox. Why? Because Xbox is invested in evangelism marketing. How do I know? Because Phil Spencer pretty much said so via the court documents in an email. If we do this with this, it'll evangelize it. Hold on one second. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen that way. I've never seen it. I've never seen anything like that. Now, granted, there are some people that are personally close as well to some creators, and they can trust them. So they may cascade something. Look, between me and you, man, I just want to prepare you, because it could hurt your content, because you were kind of capping for us about this, but we're about to do that. You may have some situations like that at real close personal levels. That's understood. But never at like a mass level do people reach out to creators like that just because they have a footprint and say, look, this is some of the damage control. These are damage control excuses for XYZ. That doesn't happen. So for them to say that happens everywhere, they're lying to you. All right. With that said, I'm going to I gotta unfortunately cut this short. Gotta take care of something. I'll talk about Remnant in another episode. My deepest apologies. We'll get to Remnant, but that's it for today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna be doing the VOD. Will be available as soon as we end this, and the VOD will be available on YouTube tomorrow. With that said, I appreciate all of y'all. Thank y'all so much. Until next time, have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.